Continue, Tuesday.
On January 4th, 2012, notice of the meeting was mailed to the Mainland Journal, the Press, and the Current, and duly posted in council chambers.
For tonight's moment of silence, just remember the men and women that serve this country day in, day out, our local fire departments, and also our police department and EMS. Thank you. Councilman Mooney, please lead us in flag salute.
Be honored to Mr. Mayor. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes?
You have two to approve. One is the regular minutes of the July 10th meeting, and also the special meeting of July 12th, 2012.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Bastard?
I'd like to abstain from the July 12th meeting, but yes on the July 10th meeting.
Mr. Coppola?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Mooney?
Abstain, please.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman? Yes. Mr. Purdy?
Yes. Pastor out. Earlier in the year, I had put together a committee with Councilman Ullman for looking out for outstanding citizens across the Galloway Council. So Councilwoman Ullman came to me and she said, I got a perfect person for this award. And I'm like, okay. And Pastor Al. Pastor Al's been a great part of this community. In the need, when people are down, they're down on their luck. They go to Pastor Al and his congregation, and they always have open arms. And through the past few meetings, from the food bank, the donations, the people they help feed, clothe in the community and neighboring communities, I thought it would be a great opportunity to bring Pastor Al up. A lot of times people sit behind the scenes and do great things and don't get recognized, and we can't recognize everybody. And I would love to have Libby and her committee bring more people forward like Pastor Al that make Galloway Council what it is. You know, I was going by Pastor Al the other day, didn't even notice me, he was cutting his grass. And I'm thinking, when does this guy get time to cut his grass? I mean, the things... But you have it, the things that Pastor Al does in his community, again, a lot of people don't notice, don't hear about, and that is a true giver and a leader, is somebody that does things that don't always have to be recognized for what they do. They do it because of what's in their heart, and how they were brought up and what they give to the community. But Pastor Al, on behalf of the council, I'd love to give you this. And you know, Pastor is dedicated to Galloway Township for the good times and bad times, like we say always. When families are down and out, and electric is out, and the police department is roaming the streets or checking businesses or homes for burglaries. This officer has dedicated his time not only through the police department, but through the times that this town has been in need. He's also been a canine officer, and he's retired. And he was here at National Night Out, like he's always been, flipping hot dogs and hamburgers, not sorry. Just to have somebody in that respect, his days of Galloway are done. His job is done, and he's still giving. And, you know, I'm so proud to have known Frank through his years at Galloway Township, and he's well respected in the community. And it's a shame to lose a guy like him, but he's young, and let him live his life like he's donated his time to Galloway Township. So, Chief.
Sorry to go up, Frank. Sergeant Frank Weir retired, started here in 1885. He served as a canine officer, he served as a patrol officer, he served in our community policing unit and in our detective bureau. And oddly enough, he served as a supervisor in all of those units. Later on, Frank has been a very valuable asset to our department throughout the years. He served with integrity, guts, and dedication, and he never quit work. Little story real quick. He announced his retirement, and 3 days later, you're wrestling with a guy with a knife in his house. That sticks out in my mind. I've always enjoyed working with Frank. We've come up, good ranks together. His wife, Elise, she's been here with us as well. I had to watch him raise his two girls, and now I get to see him as a grandpa. Pop Frank right now. So Frank's a very well-respected member and a well-known member of our community. People in Four Seasons love him. He was one of our top community policing officers. Very popular. They keep asking for him. Unfortunately, we don't have him anymore. So it's been a privilege for me to be around him for the last 22, 23 years. It really saddens me to see him leave. But I'm happy that he's happy. Congratulations tonight, Frank, on behalf of the township. We'd like to present you with our plaque, 27 years of dedicated service to the residents here in Galloway Township. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this kind work. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve the residents of Galloway for the last 27 years. A lot of fun, a lot of bad times, but mostly good. None of it would have been possible without love supporting my wife and family. All those night shifts, missed dinners, late night call outs, missed family parties. It was all worth it. Now we're looking forward to starting the next chapter in our lives with our granddaughter, our citizen town. So, thank you very much.
Good to fill the police department, Chief.
Yeah, certainly is.
Council committee reports. How many reports, anybody wants to report any committee since,
Make a few comments, Mr. Mayor. Economic Development Committee and the Township Planner have fielded several meetings with groups interested in what opportunities there are in Galloway. And one interesting one was a local group that has a relationship with the investment group that holds the Lennox property. They wanted to discuss some of the ideas for marketing and leasing Lennox property as a whole, and the possibility of leasing it incrementally and dividing the property into more manageable pieces. And unfortunately, in this economy, finding a tenant for a 400,000 square foot piece of property is very difficult. And the encouraging part is for the first time, we're having some dialogue with somebody who represents the owners, and there's a real cohesive group out there trying to market the Lennox property again. So that's encouraging. I'm excited about that. Also, the Budget Committee, along with the mayor, met with members of the state government to discuss the potential for further promoting shared services between municipalities. And I'm happy to say they were impressed by the shared services agreements we already have in place and the steps that we've already taken and inquiries that we have made to other municipalities. The governor really wants to, he wants municipalities to enter into shared services agreements. And now we actually have a threat of state aid reductions for municipalities not complying. So I think in the past, there was always that kind of insinuation that something might be happening. And I think it was just, a lot of municipalities took it as just saber rattling. But now there'll be real penalties in the form of reductions in state aid. So it's nice to see them come down and identify Galloway as a town that's been proactive with shared services, and they made some recommendations to us, which we'll follow up on and through the committee and make recommendations to council with.
That's great. I did reach out to a few of the neighboring mayors regarding the meeting that we did have with the DCA regarding that, and I think that they're very open-minded. Years ago, nobody ever wants to lose their services or have somebody else join services or what have you. But I think the governor's made it perfectly clear that this is what this governor is looking to do, and basically reward the ones that do and penalize the ones that don't. And I think that in what we have now, shared services is the only way that this state and local municipalities are going to be able to move forward in these hard, tough times, is to join forces together. It's a shame when you drive through a town and you're on a street that neighbors one town and neighbors the other town, and you have the same services on both sides when they could be sharing a service. And I think that's what it all comes down to, is we're all taxpayers, we're all, as they would say, New Jerseyans, and the days of the fire happening on one side of the town and the other side not showing up is gone. These police departments do it on a daily basis. They cross the lines and do shared services with other towns, and also the fire departments do. So I think that Galloway Township has been very proactive on this in the past. I know when Councilman Basker was at the helm that they've done shared services, and I think it's rolled right into us in today. And I think that set this council up to be a little ahead of some other neighboring communities and shared services. I think that's one of the reasons why the DCA picked us to help with the neighboring communities to join forces. So I think that Arch is definitely on top of that. So in the next few weeks, I think we're going to have more meetings with the other communities with DCA present.
Yeah, actually, Port Republic was in today. They were pulling some of their data regarding shared court. So that's moving forward, and we're looking forward to it. We're staying in direct communication with DCA. Actually, as part of the process with DCA coming in, was their police people were coming in to help us with some evaluations and looking at some of the functions of the police department to improve efficiencies.
Great. Any other committees? Anybody? I know that public safety was out. Councilman Gorman, you have anything?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Let's just banging the phone with a resident saying they can't hear us.
Can't hear us. Okay.
Nothing, but I'd like to hear what you're talking about with the shared services. There's no need for that we don't have more shared services in other communities. We really need to work together. So many duplication of services that we do, get things done quicker, better, cheaper, and there's no need for not in my backyard. Everybody wants control. I mean, some things we're going to have to give up control, and other times other towns are going to have to give. A lot of times it seems like we'd be the ones doing it. Other towns may be losing control, since we're the biggest town around here with our neighboring towns at least. But we still need to do things with other towns, with Parking Township, Hamilton Township. We do already, but there's so many more areas, not just the police and fire, public works, taxes. The court system is a perfect example.
Sharing equipment.
Everything, right?
I did meet with Mayor Sonny McCullough last week, and that's one of the things we were talking about with shared services, which his public works director is going to get together with ours and see if there's any equipment that they might have that might be on our wish list, or we have that might be on their wish list, that we can enter into a shared service agreement with them.
Yeah, we probably have it anyway. Got an extra one later on.
Especially with some of the smaller towns, we probably do have a lot of.
Yes.
We do.
And they may need not on a regular basis, but often it just works. That's the whole point of shared services.
think that's the only way. It's almost shameful to force the hand. Is financially. I mean, this governing body in township took such a big loss a few years ago when they cut half our state aid out. Then we had to implement with a 4% tax, and then went to 2. So you learn by your pocketbook, and I think that being that the state could hopefully reward some of the towns that do save money with shared service, and reward the towns that take on the burden.
I mean, the last few administrations have been pushing for it.
Yes.
And I think it is moved in the right direction because so many people now in their own households are having the financial burdens. So now it's, they can realize what we're stuck with.
Yes.
With the reductions in state aid, with the, even the reduction in ratables, just reductions. And so now I think it's more, palatable to put out there because it's not just affecting us, it's affecting them.
Good. Anybody else for any of the committees? Here none. Move on to 9. 1850-12.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1577 of 2004, so as to amend section 319-15 of the approved traffic code to establish and maintain no parking regulations along Reed's Court.
And this is a first reading. There will be a public meeting, or a public introduction next meeting, but I believe that I just want to say that this is trying to fix some of the problems that we have with the kids parking at the Reed's Road, Reed's Court for the high school. And it's really something for the neighboring people to have all these vehicles that are parked on the sidewalks and parked in the grass, and God forbid an emergency vehicle had to come in there to try to turn around. It would never happen. And I think that this has been going on between the chief and the township manager to come up with a resolution to be able to keep the way of life to the neighbors that are over there in that community, and safety in mind. It's not, they probably love it when school's out, but when it goes back into session, like it starts all over again. So this is hopefully will help the neighbors out in that community.
Have the affected neighbors of Reed's Courts been notified about this?
I drove through there myself. 2 neighbors weren't home. The 2 neighbors, one house is vacant. I think there's 3 houses in that, 4 houses in that cul-de-sac there. I don't know if we had it.
I think we should make an effort to reach out and notify them at least that this is going to be impacting them directly.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of them would embrace it, that it came from them essentially, but
Yeah, because we'd like to have their voices heard.
Absolutely.
The public.
From what was spoken about in the beginning, I think we've addressed the concerns that the neighbors were putting out there.
absolutely.
With the times and the summer off, so
Yeah.
I think it'll be good.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
where do we come up with the number of 5 temporary parking permits for each resident?
Chief.
Discussing with the township manager, we thought 5 was the appropriate number. Those families are 5 families, 1 family. If they have an event, they will stop in, get more, find out.
And it was done through the chief's office, so it's not like it has to come to council and have to wait for 2 weeks or anything in that nature.
The ordinance allows the chief's discretion if someone calls and says, I'm having a party today and I need, I'm going to have 18 people coming over, the chief can authorize and he can advise his people that not to enforce that day because there's a party going on, or, but that's only on certain cases. The 5 is if you have regular, and this comes from experience I've had before with dealing with permit parking. It's just a number that, it's a reasonable number because, and as long as they're monitored by the homeowner and not to be abused and given out to the kids from high school, we should be okay.
That was my unreadiness because in my experience as well, I've seen where these parking permits become a currency and they're traded.
And that's going to have to be monitored through this process.
They're traded for whatever kids in high school trade things for. So, it's a concern that we don't create.
Little Johnny needs a pass, and
we don't create an additional headache with the number. And I would, I'm willing to vote in the affirmative on first reading, and I trust that the chief will have a handle on what's going on there, to ensure that we don't create more of a headache than already exists there for the residents who obviously have expressed concern to members of council about this problem.
We have one neighbor on the street that will definitely monitor the situation and keep us abreast of it.
Well, I didn't realize Mrs. J moved.
That being said, do we have any other questions or comments regarding the,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, just real quick to the mayor, for the township solicitor, if in the pendency of our discussion and actually we have public comment at next reading, if we adjust the number of permits to be issued, will that be a substantial change and knock it back to first reading?
No, I don't think so. If it's a change just in the number of those additional permits, no.
Okay.
That would be a minor enough change that could be adjusted.
Okay, well, that would be my concern, if, you know, if we were gonna have an issue, and inconvenience the public when coming out, expecting the public hearing and us having to postpone.
okay, good.
I was just gonna comment on the need, you know, I've gone over there during the school year to see how bad the problem is. And, you know, I mean, it looks bad in these pictures, but honestly, the pictures
Don't show that.
don't even show, yeah, I mean, sometimes the cars are 3 and 4 deep. Honestly, I don't know.
31 I counted the one day.
Yeah, I don't know how they determine, you know, how they're gonna get out when somebody parks in front and behind them, in some instances. So, you know, it is an inconvenience to the residents on that court. You know, I hope that this ordinance is well received by the neighbors and actually tackles the problems.
We're trying to help them, not us. It's off-site parking. It's not like it's in the driveway or any the sort of that nature. So, do I have a motion?
Motion to move.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Coppola?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Purdy?
Yes.
I'm going to advertise this for second reading and public hearing on Tuesday, September 11th.
Okay. 211-12, payment of bills. Anybody in the public have anything with payment of bills?
Yes, ma'am.
That's okay.
First one's page 4, and there's no estimation. Lutheran Church, Reformation Lutheran Church, $698.
I got it.
Donation.
Nine.
Not donation.
No, could have been this for reimbursement.
And that was the planning board application.
Yeah.
They came through the planning board last meeting.
And page 22, scaling access technology, small auto door, is that the Citizenship building? This is not the way to order.
Yes, yes it is. Yes, that's the ordinance.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's when you go up there, Tom, you can open it.
Got nice door.
Let's go in there and $90,000. So you're not too long.
Any questions or comments from council? Hearing none.
Motion to pay the bills?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Coppola?
Yes.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Purdy?
Yes. 212-12, closed session. So listen, do we have closed session this
Yes, we
evening?
have two issues.
I believe this evening we have two issues. One is number 7, any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiation which the public body is or may become a party, any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that the confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise his ethical duties as a lawyer. regarding potential defense strategy and litigation and contract negotiation. And number 8, any matter involving the employment, appointment, termination of employment, terms and conditions of employment, evaluation of the performance, promotion, or disciplining of any specific prospective public officer or employee or current public officer or employee employed or appointed by the public body, unless all individual employees or appointees whose rights could be adversely affected, reflected in writing in such matter or matters to be discussed at a public meeting. And this is appointment of an attorney to handle personnel matters. And it says also see section number 7. And it should take us approximately 20 minutes. And at this time, it's unknown as to when the minutes of the closed session could be released, because it depends on to the extent that the discussion includes litigation defense strategy or contract negotiation strategy. Only upon a determination that confidentiality is no longer relevant.
And just for clarification, there's
I'd
actually,
love to say that, Michael.
thank you.
It's like, please, Michael.
You don't have to change your routine.
I love it. Michael, what do you think?
There's actually two matters I understand to be discussed in terms of potential special counsel. So, for discussion, and they come under both exceptions, both the attorney-client and also the personnel in terms of handling outside special counsel.
Would any action be taken?
I think on one tonight,
Possibly action could be
Yes.
taken. Okay. Do I have a motion for closed session?
motion to go. Okay, Gorman, second.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Bassford?
Yes.
Mr. Coppola?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman?
Yes.
Mr. Purdy?
Yes, and we do have this 220-12 that is getting moved, correct? That was into the closed session. The resolution.
Yeah, 220-12 is being pulled. Also, we're gonna need a motion to add a resolution.
Yeah, motion for 222-12 as a performance release.
Release a performance bond for Lloyd Wimberg funeral.
Motion.
That we need to expedite it a little bit because it's been sitting around here since late November 11. It hasn't done so. Out of fairness to them, I think we need to move it.
They should be happy about that.
Okay, so it's hard to do a resolution, just add 222-12 to the agenda.
That's fine.
So, Mr. Foley, you will do the motion?
Yes.
Jim Gorman, second.
And Mr. Gorman, second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bassford?
Yes.
Mr. Coppola?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Ullman?
Yes.
Purdy?
Yes.
Okay, now we can.
And just for the record, that's in everyone's packet there, so it's 222-12. That revised tonight, yeah.
Okay, will we do consent agenda now?
Consent agenda.
Consent agenda includes items of business which are non-controversial and do not require individual discussion. A motion approving the consent agenda is moved, seconded, and voted upon as one item by the Township Council. If any discussion is requested on a consent agenda item, it is removed from the consent agenda to the regular agenda. 2010-12, amend adopted budget, chapter 159, for drive sober, get pulled over crackdown grant. 213-12, agreement between Galloway Township and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection for a $3,000 grant. 214-12, application and acceptance of funds by the Galloway Township Municipal Drug Alliance from Atlantic County. 215-12, cancellation of outstanding checks issued by the municipal court. 217-12, amend resolution number 190-12 for the cancellation and refund of taxes under Disabled Veteran Act. 218-12, supporting drive sober or get pulled over 2012 statewide crackdown. 219-12, execute agreement with medical direction for basic life support services. 220-12, we're holding until after closed session. 221-12, approving the settlement of a tax appeal, and resolution 222-12, a resolution of the Township of Galloway releasing a performance bond to Lloyd A. Wimberg Funeral Home in the amount of $64,084.77.
March?
Yeah, on
219,
Yeah.
I'm going to request that we pull 219. We need a clarification language on that. It's too broad right now, and I think we need to pull that and review it and come back with
I
some
think the
adjusted
reasoning
language.
for it is a good reasoning. I think just a word.
They sent us a boilerplate contract that really doesn't have a lot to do with what we're trying to accomplish. We're training our people.
Just a council
Yeah.
where it was about training police officers for possibly an EpiPen.
Yeah, it's extremely broad.
Yeah, if you read it,
I'm going to request we withdraw that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
To the township manager, does Atlantic Care offer this service?
Chief, this is the, yep.
There was representative who actually came forward, and I guess it goes one of our officers.
I did look into it, Chief. The reason being is when you have the ambulance service, each ambulance service has to have a actual doctor sign off and oversee the procedure. And the Galloway Township Ambulance Squad is currently under the contract with the Cooper Health System. And they donated to come down to train them with the EpiPen so they could carry it. I had brought up the same exact question you did, since the neighboring community is with Atlantic Care, and that's something we are going to look into. But the reason why it went through, who went through, is because the ambulance service that the Galloway uses, their doctor that signs off on it is through the Cooper Health System.
No, you know, I don't have an issue with competency as far as the Cooper Health System, but in terms of donating,
Yep.
there's an awful lot of pages to that contract for what is supposed to be a donation.
I would say I looked at it and I'm like, if you read it, it actually says they're giving us ambulance service.
It's too broad. It's a boilerplate. That's the problem. They sent us a boilerplate.
Yeah, okay. Okay, questions or comments? Is everybody okay taking these together?
Yes.
Anybody have anything to pull out? Do I have a motion?
Motion to pass the consent agenda?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Passford?
Yes.
Mr. Coppola?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Allman?
Yes.
Mr. Purdy?
Yes.
Public hearing and discussion, application for special permit for social affair, the Noise Museum of Art. Application for special permit for social affair, Cape Atlantic Irish Association Incorporated. An application for raffles license, ARMC, Mainland Auxiliary. Also consent agenda items. We can have a motion on those.
Questions or comments?
Motion to pass the three?
Second. Roll call?
Mr. Bassford?
Yes.
Mr. Coppola?
Because of my affiliation with a local liquor license, I'm going to abstain from those.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Mooney?
Yes.
Mr. Terrell?
I'm going to abstain from 12A, the affiliation with Stockton.
Okay.
Yes on B and C.
Okay. Ms. Allman?
Yes.
Mr. Purdy?
Yes. Manager's report.
Yeah, a few things. One of the things that, going through the budget process going into calendar year 2013, we've been working with Tom Smith and the assessor's office on tax appeals. It appears that these tax appeals are going to be substantial of impact to revenue going into next year. One of the things, one of the immediate steps we had to take was we had to get some additional help into the tax assessor's office because we've got to accelerate during our reassessment to reduce some of our impact for next year. So I did bring somebody in part-time to help the tax assessor to move, because he's doing tax appeals, and we're having this other gentleman kind of focus on moving the process for the reassessment. If we don't do this and we sit on, we're really going to have a substantial financial impact next year and the year after. Not saying we're looking at a potential $3 million impact on our overall revenues going into next year. We have some strategies that we're going to have to deal with it through council, but we know right now that we do have some major problems with tax appeals. Senior update, I'm going to let Ms. J, you going to talk about the senior center? Okay, Ms. J's going to talk about the senior center. Clarification on the meeting of the 28th. We're not going to have a meeting on the 28th, so we can pull out. Is that correct? Is that council's wish? Okay. Secondly, the meeting of 9/11, there's some conflict there. Mayor and I had some discussions. There's a ceremony at 7 o'clock with the fire department. Do we want to adjust, council wish to adjust times? They want to move to a different evening? What's council's wishes with that?
What do you guys think? The fire department is having a ceremony at the Patriot Lake at 7 o'clock on 9/11. What's the feeling of the body? Do you want to have the meeting earlier? If it runs late, you could, I would like to go out to the ceremony.
Try to move it to 5:30.
5:30, you think?
An hour and a half should be
Yeah.
enough.
What do you want after?
Excuse me?
Or would you want to do it after?
Before. Hey, is everybody okay with before? Councilor Mooney?
I'm fine.
Debbie? All right, let's do,
5:30?
we'll do 5:30. Okay, public?
Make sure we amend the public announcement.
Yeah, we're advertising. We're re-advertising. The last thing I have is on August 22nd. We're having the public demonstration by the Department of Transportation engineering firm that's doing the 41 and 44 project for the Garden State Parkway. That's going to start around 4 o'clock. We've advertised it as a public meeting just to be safe in case we have 4 or more council people show up at the same time, and people will maintain it. But that's going to be a point where people of the public can address their issues to the engineering and the people from New Jersey Turnpike Authority about the 2 interchange changes. We expect everybody to come and voice their opinion.
Yes. Thank you. Councilman Gorman?
I just want to thank Sergeant Weir for his time in Galloway and wish him a long retirement. And also all the volunteers that helped with the carnival and the Galloway Night Out. Everybody did a good job. And it really shows how the volunteers and the community can come together. And also Pastor Al, he's been here for a lot of, not just Galloway citizens, but our neighboring towns. And it's a very deserving of the award. And welcome aboard, John. And that's all I got tonight, Mayor.
Thank you.
That's all I really have. We couldn't be a more deserving person than Pastor Al for, Pastor Al does everything around here. You call him up and whatever we need, whatever people need, and he's right there. He's a godsend to this community. We've had some great people in this community. Pastor Al is definitely one of them. He's done a lot for the kids, for anybody. Like you said, it doesn't care what state you're from. It just doesn't matter. He's there for you. So, glad that we can have Pastor Al. And Sergeant Weir was another good police officer, so they're hard to replace. Guys with that experience, and he's done a lot for Galloway. So happy retirement.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta echo those 3 comments. Welcome, John Mooney. Good to have you on board here. And Sergeant Weir, what a tremendous job he did for us over the years, and tough shoes to fill. And Pastor Al, that was about the easiest decision I've made since I've been on the council. Let's selecting him for Citizen of the Year. He's a great man in this community, really is, with a great family to boot. Other than that, I'd just like to really encourage citizens to come out on the 22nd and kind of listen to what the Turnpike Authority has to say and express their concerns and get involved in the process. This is our opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Mooney?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank the mayor and the members of council for their cooperation and courtesies. I transitioned into this role to fill the seat that was vacated. I guess I wouldn't call it tumultuous, but it was certainly an experience going through the steps that brought me to this seat. I'm grateful we didn't fight over the chair the way the fight over the seat took place. I also want to express my thanks to Mr. Archliston, our township manager, for his cooperation and courtesy, trying to get me up to speed on some of the issues that are facing our township at present. Very grateful to DCK, our township clerk, who took time out of her busy schedule, and actually with Councilman Vice Chairman Coppola present, to swear me in on August 2nd. And, unfortunately, it wasn't a public swearing in, but I will say this to the public. The oath and the obligation that I took when I took that oath is to the people, the citizens and taxpayers of Galloway Township. I understand that my seat on council, the process involved a partisan selection. But I can assure you that as I sit here as a member of this council, that every vote that I take, every moment of consideration on an item in front of us will be to the best interest of the citizens of Galloway Township and not based solely on partisan politics. It's been a great couple weeks here in Galloway. We had National Night Out. I had an opportunity to get out and walk and meet with our volunteer firefighters and our policemen and a lot of the volunteers. And I'm grateful to Chief Moran, who actually bring me up to speed on the connection between the Galloway Carnival and the funding for National Night Out. And in my prior public service, I know we struggled for funding. And I have to commend the Township of Galloway employees who put the carnival together and National Night Out together because they're self-funded. And, we're facing dire financial times, and to have that and provide that service and that level of awareness and public engagement for especially our emergency services on National Night Out, completely funded and not creating another burden on the taxpayers is absolutely great. I add my thanks to Pastor Al, and I'm very sorry to see Sergeant Frank Weir leave after 27 years of service, and I truly appreciated his remarks with the number of family obligations that get set aside in order to provide service to the Township of Galloway, and we're going to miss him. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Ullman.
I just wanted to welcome you aboard as well, Councilman Mooney. And I wanted to congratulate Pastor Al again for being the first recipient of the Outstanding Citizen Award. And it was a joint effort between myself and Brian Terrell, Councilman Brian, Dr. Terrell. And we thought that was definitely a very easy decision, so we want to congratulate him. And also, there's an event going on next Monday, August 20th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Fred and Ethel's. It's sponsored by Go Green Galloway. It's called Green Drinks, which I believe is a national event where it's originally put together to talk about environmental topics and things of that nature, but really everyone's welcome, and it's a great networking experience so you can meet other people in the town and get to know them. Again, that's Monday at Fred and Ethel's from 5 to 7 p.m.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Again, echoing my fellow councilman here, and welcome, John. Already your comments and concerns are insightful, and sorry about Tony Stewart this weekend. Can't have everything go our way, but congratulations to Pastor Al. I think Brian summed it up. That's an easy choice. Pastor's so involved. He's here all the time. Everybody knows him by name. Needs no introduction. Frank Weir, thank you for your service to our community. Frank's a great guy, a community guy, and as the mayor said, he knows everybody in town. Walking around him is like walking around with Don around town here. It's, and as our Arch alluded to, our financial concerns, things have gotten better, and I'm confident that we can move forward, and with the fiscally conservative approach that's helped us dig out from a seemingly insurmountable deficit, moving forward to a financially stable municipality. When people ask me what accomplishment I'm most proud of all our time on council here, it's probably one of the things that was the most difficult to do, and that's working with everybody up here, my fellow council members, especially the mayor, and throwing the brakes on a runaway train of spending. We got, when we first got on, when I first got on, we spent a couple of years just digging into $2 million each year, digging into our surplus. Our budget was over $2 million, so every year we were $2 million into surplus money to balance the budget. Well, it doesn't take a financial expert to figure out. You can't carry on that way very long. And now we don't have that problem anymore because we have no deficit, we have no surplus. So it forced us to tighten our belts a little bit, and you know, I think things are getting better. And I think we've saved, what we've done is we've saved Galloway from certain bankruptcy or state takeover and put us in a pretty promising situation moving forward. You know, with tax appeals and everything else happening in the municipality, it's certainly, next year is certainly not going to be an easy year, but I'm confident that we've got a good plan and move forward, and we'll be better off for it. So that's all I have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. It's like a broken record, but Pastor Al deserves it. Pastor Al's a great guy, and I think that the committee, and I'm sorry, Dr. Terrell, I could not put you on the committee, to hear from you, because Councilwoman Norman had my ear bleeding at the time, so your part was you, but I know it was a joint effort between the two of you, and you guys did a great choice, and you know, I didn't even have to think about it like you said. When the name came up, it was just natural. So thank you very much for the committee for that too. It's nice to recognize the people in the community that give back so much. The Turnpike Authority, please come out to voice your concerns. This governing body, I'm sure, will be speaking for you, but it's not like hearing the residents. The residents have the ear. You know, the governing body only has so much. I want to make it perfectly clear that I'm hoping this is not a rubber stamp meeting. I'm hoping this meeting is not about somebody coming here with a set of plans and saying, here's what you got, I hope you like it. I think this meeting was done way too late. I think this meeting should have been done a year ago. I think that in my heart, I believe that their mind is already made up of what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And I don't believe that that was the right way to do it. I think that if there's concerns that are made that need to be changed, and then there are valid concerns, that I think that we need to voice them in a professional manner and let our professionals go from there and try to follow up with the concerns that are made by the Galloway Township residents. So please, you know, this has been such a very confusing media blast with the little things that come out about this, and I got so many people coming to me. I use Jimmy Lee's Road to get on the Parkway. This is going to, there'll be pictures. It is, I think it was very poorly put through the media with the releases that they have done to the media. I think it was very confusing to the average person without actually going through the steps and seeing the pictures and identifying how we have. So please come out, get your neighbors to come out, anybody that has any concerns. This is going to be a one-time deal. Again, welcome Mike Fitzgerald. Welcome aboard. You know, I think that you're a great asset to Galloway Township. I think you bring stability, just like Mr. Blee had here with Galloway Township. I think you have a long history with the town that goes back into, I would say, the 80s.
That was my first go around at the planning board back then.
80s, yeah. So,
Remember, this is the same seat I said
yeah, right. This is, you're not a stranger.
Only change was the name tag.
No, you're not a stranger, and I think that you're going to be a great fit here in Galloway Township. I'm honored to have you here serving Galloway Township.
To say the least, from what I've seen so far, things are very interesting.
Yes, yes. It's like a happy-go-lucky zoo. So, but listen, welcome aboard besides that.
Thank you.
And again, Councilman Mooney, welcome aboard. I think you bring definitely a different aspect to us because of the service that you've done in your past, the hurdles that you've been through. We're putting budgets together and stuff like that. We've been through the budget process, but you've been on the other side and actually put them together, and grants that you have gotten over the past, and dealing with the state and so forth. And I think that that's an added asset to this council. So
Thank you.
welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Sergeant Frank Weir, again, I already said it once. Big boots that the chief's going to have to fill over there. He was a community leader on his own right, and he gave back a lot. And I think you know, a lot of our employees of Galloway Township that people don't recognize all the time but when you go to National Night Out, or you go, to all the different events, or even at the carnival and they're selling wristbands or what have you, these are all employees that are there and doing it, they care enough about the community to come back and work too. It's not like it's I would say, 9 to 4:30 or 9 to 3:30 job. So Frank is one of the normal employees, I would say, that Galloway has through the thing. Every employee at Galloway Township, and through these hard times, as Deputy Mayor said, they've all given and given and given, and there's really nothing more. You can only get so much from a stone. There's nothing there. These employees are running on so lean, and we've showed it in the past with some tragedies we've had in this township with weather and storms and so forth. The last thing that I have is we do have coming up, that we'll have it out there, we're doing a Mayor's Cup golf outing, and it's going to be through the Galloway Township, and it will be at the Blue Heron Pines that Ron Jaworski has recently purchased, and the proceeds will go into our community service, community events to help with the fingerprinting of the youth, coaching, and so forth, and any extra money we have, we're trying to put it into the recreation for the children in the community to help offset when times are hard, a lot of times you got to cut back on different spots that really affect the community, and the kids need recreation, the kids need somewhere to go, and a lot of them, it furthers them in their education. They go to school and they get sports grants and what have you. So this Mayor's Cup that hopefully we can have a lot of sponsors come out to. It'll be a fun day, and also raise money for the youth of Galloway Township. There's one other thing I got to mention. This little guy back here, he's in the you. Can you come up here? I want to thank you, and I want to tell you why I want to thank you. Come up here. You've been coming to council meetings. Come on up here. This little guy has been coming to the council meetings. Come on back here so he can get you on the camera. There you go. See? Look at the camera. All right, see this little guy? This little guy, I was in my tow truck out front on the phone waiting to come in the meeting. And this little guy went over and grabbed a gutter downspout that was off the municipal building and put it back on. Over the time, and I'm gonna be guilty of it. 2 weeks ago, I came through the council meeting and that same gutter downspout was hanging off. And I walked by and I wanted to do something and I forgot about it. So I'm gonna say there's probably been a couple hundred people that's gone by that gutter downspout that this little guy come by. And this is the kind of guy that happened to have a gutter downspout. It's just the little things in life. Okay, that's it. Let's go to public participation. Anybody from the public have any say, please come up to the mic and give your name and your address.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Gary Giroux. I'm from Asbury Avenue in Southern Harbor. Just like to know who I could speak with or you can put me in contact with about some concerns I have with some ordinances in Galloway Township. Give you a little background. Woke up about a week ago, a lot of activity go out of my house, and I found out to put the tow lock on my house. Came down, seen people for the planning board, permitted use, that's fine. But what I have is a chain link fence behind my house. To look at cars that are going to be wrecked, they're going to be sitting here for 6 months. And we understand that's the way it's going to have to be with chain link fence around here. I understand the gentleman wants to apply possibly for towing for the police department. They're going to need to be able to see into the lot. I'm going to still have to look at it. Now I can turn around and put a privacy fence where they can't see in there.
I'm sorry, 1 second. TC, I'm going to step off the dais for this. Okay. Deputy Mayor. Jeff.
That's going to be a burden on me. I've been a lifelong resident. The house has been there since 1946. And it's one of the smallest properties in Galloway Township. And, I that here, was this?
I'm not even sure of what, and was it approved by the go before the planning board?
Yes.
How long ago?
I don't recall that.
I don't
I have no
recall.
idea.
Are you sure that's the pending use for it?
So they gave me approval, I mean, the gentleman started on it.
What was there before?
A private truck repair facility.
Okay, I'm wondering if that was
This for done right, so
bypass.
Tell you what, Art, let's get his name and phone number down,
Yeah, if you can.
and then we'll
Sure.
follow up on that for you.
I mean, the new gentleman, he's been a perfect
All right,
gentleman.
then, come on,
I see why there was not a hearing before the planning board, which you would have noticed, and could have requested. You know,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that-
buffering. Normally, I mean, to the rear, it would not be normally a security issue, that there should have been, a solid fence, buffering, plantings, you know, to buffer that from your property.
Yeah, well, they buffered for Route 50,
Well,
but not from my residence.
Again, but,
And that would be the second one within a 3-block area.
well, let's look into it and find out, because I'm not sure, clear on what happened.
I mean, everybody's been very helpful when I came down to the township and everything. Not complaining about that. But like I say, further down the road, if he does get approval for township towing, now it's going to be a lighting issue.
Well, I served in planning board, and I don't remember that particular one coming through, but it may not need planning board approval if there's no
It was, they say it was administratively approved.
Okay, so it could have somehow bypassed the planning board again. That's something that could be looked into as well.
We can look into it. Please make sure we get your name and,
Yeah.
and contact information down.
And the property
We'll get to that for you.
location,
Yeah.
left on your address.
And also, if there, who I can contact, whether there's going to be any storm drain improvements in that area, there's only 3. They're on the opposite side of the block. I know where it's going to be runoff. And if there's any road improvements that are scheduled for Asbury Avenue, if I can be directed in that.
Not at this point. I mean, we're not doing any capital projects going into the end of this year and next year. I will double check with the engineer to see if he has any projected, but
I know they,
we just did an improvement down on,
Cincinnati, back over there and everything.
right, there were some improvements done, but there's going to be no storm drains that I can see being put in,
Okay.
in that area.
We're going through a difficult economic time also, so we're trying to.
But Mr. Drew,
Absolute necessity.
there's definitely some stormwater issues, I believe, down there.
Yes.
I mean, I've driven through there when the storms have happened. I did stop and talk to a gentleman, I believe his name was Mr. Lamb.
Yes.
In regards to, and I did talk to the township manager about that. When the storm water does happen, and it comes up his sidewalk because the roads were filled up and it.
Yeah, like I said, there's 3 in there outside of the block.
Right, we are,
And a lot of it runs off of Route 50.
I know we are planning up a light over there on the corner of Chicago.
Yeah, I understand. I was talking to a gentleman that told me that council was kind
Yes.
of to put it.
Yeah, I think with the community there, we usually have it on the ordinance at the end of a street or cul-de-sac. There's supposed to be one. That particular intersection didn't have one, and it was where the senior development was there, and there should be one at the end there. And I did give it to the township manager, and he is taking care of that issue down there also.
There's also where they have done some utility work on that street, added sinking in from the gas company.
That's something we could look into
Yeah.
because they will.
There's
do
one in
a
the
course
family
on
of
that
6
for
to
that.
live in comfortably and everything, so I appreciate the council.
Did you give your phone number?
I
on
will.
that?
I will
Okay,
do
just
that.
so that
Thank you.
council.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Anybody else from the public, please step forward. This is Jen coming forward down the aisle.
Anna Jesky, Galloway Council. We had the first meeting at the senior center. It was fruitful. We broke up into committees, we formed committees, we spoke about having dances, we spoke about having parties, we spoke about vegetable gardens, which maybe we could use Barbara. She can come and help if that comes out to be. We spoke about having luncheons and about the county possibly coming in. We don't, as of this very minute, have a kitchen. We know the reason for that. Finances just you know, take hold of all these little groups. Right now, everybody went home with ideas in their head. They're all going to email their little group, and then we're going to meet separately, and we're going to put them all together, and then we will meet with Arch and whatever as a whole, and see what's going to be as far as that end of it goes. So, I'm very happy that the senior center is there. I'm very happy that we're rolling forward with that. But I do have a quirk.
I knew it was too good to be true.
You know what it is, John?
No, but I'm sure you're gonna tell me.
I'm going to tell you, we have one little quirk. And the quirk is the Cultural Arts Center is in our building with a room exclusively to themselves. Now, we were told that they were incorporated in this when this was put before the county or the state, whatever, okay? The thing of it is, did any of you know about it? Why?
I didn't know about it when we did the ribbon cutting. Somebody asked me about the cultural arts, and I didn't know anything about it. Is the cultural arts all seniors, Mrs. J?
I have no idea.
Arch?
When
Let me advise that they're going to be focused on seniors. One of my concerns about the way the grant was written, if it was written for the fact that they were incorporated in the initial grant request, and we don't allow them to use that part of the building, we may have to reimburse the grant because we haven't presented the, we backed out of part of our grant agreement there. So it's one thing we're reviewing, but on this issue, we focus the cultural arts as seniors, and let's make them a partner in the process, and let's work with them. I think we've got some assets that do, some of the people that are involved with the group, they can really bring a lot to the table. And I don't think, if the grant was written that way, let's follow through and let's get these people on board with us and work with them.
Exactly, because there's nothing we can do about it now. The problem is it shouldn't have been done that way. There was a building that they could have went into here on the complex. To give them a room exclusively to themselves when it's in supposedly a senior center is not the way to do things.
As long as it's senior operated.
That's where I think that, I don't know if we can look into it, because that's where I have a different opinion, because when we were starting this, it was going to be a community/senior center.
That's not,
And I know a few months ago, Arch was saying it was strictly senior.
Exactly.
But when we were going through the purchase process and stuff, we had said about the Boy Scouts using it, we said about this organization using it, the seniors using it, and that's what the plan was put forward. Now, I don't know,
Before I was on council.
and I don't know where this direction changed.
Well, if you're going to do that, Jim, then you can't call it a senior center.
Well,
You
that's
have
what
to
it,
call it a community center.
right, well, that's it
So
was,
then you can't turn around and say, you built a center for seniors, what you did.
well, it was both. It was community senior center.
Well, this is
Because-
not how it's being
Right,
portrayed.
and if you recall, we spoke about this too. This was after we were talking about putting it back here on this project, and they were going to have another organization come in, and then that fell apart, and then there was another.
Well, the thing of it is, everything fell apart.
Right.
So when it was reconstructed as a senior center, not / senior community center. That's not how it was portrayed. And if you're going to tell the seniors, we built a center for you, then it has to be for them. If you're going to allow one entity to come in, you're going to open the door for everybody else to come in, then rename it. Don't call it senior center. Call it community center, and don't tell the seniors, we built this building for you, when in reality, that's not how it's going to be used.
Arch, do you know how
The grant agreement with CDBG was the fact that it was had to be dedicated to senior use. And if that's the way we contractually committed to CDBG for this funding, then we're going to have to follow through.
senior use?
Right.
So if the seniors, Mrs. J, would you say that if the seniors were doing it as a cultural arts and it was senior operated, I mean, I think that seniors, that's fine.
But the seniors aren't gonna operate it. The cultural arts center's gonna operate.
Okay, but the seniors are good.
And they're seniors, they're seniors. I mean, you have a group there with it, I mean, there are no.
When I took art classes there, it was not just seniors. Now, if it's changed, fine. Look, we can't do anything about it. You know what, it's done. We can't do anything about it. The problem is, it shouldn't have been done that way to begin with.
I think we need to examine what the conditions of the grant were, primarily. First of all, I think that, I understand that, Mrs. Chair, but what I'm saying is, I think that the seniors and Boy Scouts can peacefully coexist, because if the building's not being used on a Tuesday evening, every Tuesday, why let it go vacant, let the Boy Scouts?
Because when you signed the grant agreement, you said this.
So that's different, if it's conditions of the grant, then we
That's the
can't do it.
condition of the grant, because that's the condition of the grant.
Of course.
And what CDBG will make it a very easy solution. If you don't want to follow the grant agreement, pay them
Give
back.
the money back.
That ain't happening.
And we can't do
Michael,
that.
please do a legal interpretation on the grant.
Exact conditions.
It's not his interpretation, it's CDBG's and the county's interpretation.
Well, somebody do, tell us legally what we can and can't do.
Okay.
Mr. J, and, I mean, from what I'm understanding, you're correct. But I need to have our professionals tell us, my understanding was it was a senior building. If there's something in there written with the grant money, that there was a different use to it, and you're exactly right, it is what it is, and that's what we're gonna go forth to do. I'm not gonna put the township at a liability if it's not, and it has to be a senior use, and that's what it will be. is a
And don't misunderstand me, I took classes at the Cultural Arts Center. I love it.
Right.
And then, you know, the only thing is, what I frown on is that they have a room exclusively to themselves. That I frown on. You wanna be part of the senior center? Then don't put yourself exclusively. That when somebody excludes themselves, they're not part of. Correct?
Correct. Well, Mrs. J, let's continue this conversation possibly at the next meeting when the solicitor and the manager get together with the county and let them review the documents to make sure that, A, we're doing it the right way, the way it's supposed to be done, and go forth from there.
We are doing it the right way.
No, I'm saying, Mr. J, it has to be by the guidelines, and we will do it by the guidelines. So let's let the solicitor and let the manager turn around and get the interpretation from county, state, and what the, you understand what I'm saying? Let's do it the right
The
way.
thing of it was, we asked, well, are we gonna have access to that room? And we were told, no. It's gonna be locked. It's exclusively for them. That's what we were told. They got a sink where we could make coffee because we don't have a sink. And I'm sorry, I frown on making coffee in the bathroom. That's not sanitary. No, that grosses me out.
Mrs. J, I understand. I feel your pain. I feel it.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Thank you very much.
Your mother's gonna feel it.
And it's getting late, it's almost 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You put up with me for a long time, you're
All
absolutely right.
right.
Not putting that in a minute.
Okay then, so, 2 other things are,
Oh,
what
Mrs.
happened
J.
with the post office? Did we get any numbers? Are we doing anything?
Yeah, we looked at the numbers just aren't
You're not.
supportive.
All right. And what happened with the bees?
The what?
The bees? The 9
For Swartz?
yeah.
I know that the fire department is talking to them about the service we're having there, and I do not know if the beam will be part of the service or not.
Oh, I wish it was.
Well, we'll
All
try.
right, well, see what you can do.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. J.
Anybody else from the public, please come up to the mic, state your name, your address, how bad you want to beat us up.